Hello and welcome to our podcast episode number 15. A comet threatens humanity, but no one will listen to the scientists. I'm Timothy, and as always, here with me, my dear friend Thomas. Today, we're going to discuss a film called Don't Look Up. There will be spoilers. Don't Look Up is a 2021 American epic apocalyptic political satire black comedy film written, co-produced, and directed by Adam McKay. The movie tells the story of two astronomers attempting to warn humanity about an approaching comet that will destroy civilization due to climate change. They face governmental, media, and celebrity indifference as they try to mobilize public opinion before it's too late. Well, Tom, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, Timothy, I have to say that I found it quite entertaining. It's a unique blend of genres, and it really highlights the absurdity of our current situation with climate change. The film is filled with dark humor and satire, which makes it quite engaging. The performances were also top-notch, especially from Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Tom. However, I have to say that I found the movie to be quite overrated and preachy. It's not enough for me to enjoy a film just because it has an important message. The storytelling needs to be compelling as well. And in this case, I feel like they relied too much on shock value and celebrity cameos instead of focusing on developing a cohesive narrative. Furthermore, I didn't find the characters to be particularly likable or relatable. I think we can all agree on one thing. The movie certainly made us think about the consequences of our actions regarding climate change. But for me, that wasn't enough. The plot felt forced and predictable, with characters making decisions that were more convenient for the narrative than they were logical. It also seemed to be preaching to the choir. Those who are already aware of the issues at hand won't find anything new or groundbreaking here.
I see your point, Timothy. However, I think the film succeeds in highlighting how difficult it can be to mobilize people around such a dire issue. The fact that the scientists are met with apathy and even ridicule mirrors our current situation with climate change deniers and skeptics. It's easy for us to look back now and say, well, of course they should have done this or that. But the film shows how complex the situation can be when you're dealing with politics, media manipulation, and public opinion.
I still think they could have done a better job at presenting both sides of the argument fairly. Instead, it felt like the film was just bashing people who didn't believe in climate change without giving them any nuance or depth. As for the plot twists and turns, I found them to be rather predictable as well. The whole comet is actually a rare Earth element goldmine revelation. Seemed like something straight out of a bad B movie.
I see your point about presenting both sides more fairly, Tim. However, I think the film's main goal was to highlight the urgency of addressing climate change and the dangers of inaction. In that respect, it succeeds admirably. As for the plot twists, while they may have been predictable, they served to underscore the corruption and greed that often drive decision-making in our society. The film isn't trying to be a realistic portrayal of how things would actually unfold. It's using exaggeration and satire to make its point more effectively.
I suppose we can agree to disagree on that point. Moving on, let's discuss some of the characters in the film. I found Jennifer Lawrence's portrayal of Kate Dibiasky particularly impressive. She managed to capture both the intelligence and vulnerability of her character quite well. On the other hand, Leonardo DiCaprio's performance as Dr. Randall Mindy felt a bit one-note at times. He came across as more of a caricature than a fully fleshed-out character.
I completely agree about Jennifer Lawrence's performance. She was absolutely fantastic in the role and brought a great deal of depth to her character. As for Leonardo DiCaprio, while his portrayal may have been more one-note than we're used to seeing from him, I think it served the film's overall tone and message. The characters are supposed to be larger than life in this case, so their exaggerated traits help drive home the satirical elements of the story.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. And I have to admit that some of the celebrity cameos were quite amusing, like Meryl Streep's portrayal of the unhinged and incompetent president. However, I feel like these moments detracted from the overall seriousness of the film's message at times. It was difficult to maintain a sense of urgency when you have scenes with Ariana Grande singing about the end of the world.
I see your point there, Tim. However, I think the celebrity cameos served two purposes in the film. They added some much-needed levity to an otherwise bleak story, and they also highlighted how deeply ingrained this issue is in our society as a whole. By having these famous faces participate in the satire, it underscores how important it is for everyone. Not just scientists or politicians to be aware of climate change and take action against it.
Well, Tom, moving on from the characters and plot twists, let's talk about something that really stood out for me in this film. The soundtrack. Don't Look Up features an eclectic mix of musical genres, which I found to be quite fitting, considering the film's blend of humor and seriousness. What did you think about the music choices in this movie?
Oh, Timothy, I couldn't agree more. The soundtrack for Don't Look Up was absolutely fantastic. It perfectly captures the tone of the film, shifting from melancholic to hopeful to downright hilarious at times. I particularly enjoyed the use of classical music during some of the more tense moments in the story. It added an extra layer of drama and gravitas that really elevated those scenes.
I see your point there. The classical pieces did add a touch of elegance to the film, which contrasted nicely with some of the more outrageous aspects of the plot. However, my favorite songs from the soundtrack were actually some of the more contemporary tracks that were used. Songs like Despair by the Planetarian and Good News Comes to Those Who Work, Their Fingers to the Bone by the Beach Boys, both served as commentary on society's obsession with instant gratification and material wealth, which is something that the film touches upon as well.
Absolutely. Those songs are great examples of how the music in Don't Look Up enhances its message without being overly didactic. The use of Just Breathe by Pearl Jam during the final scene was also quite powerful. It conveyed a sense of resignation and acceptance while still leaving room for hope, which I think is a fitting end to such a thought-provoking film.
Well said, Tom. And speaking of that final scene, did you find it satisfying? Personally, I felt like the movie could have ended on a stronger note. The entire film builds up to this moment where they try to warn humanity about the comet, and then suddenly it's over with no real resolution or closure for the characters involved.
That's an interesting point, Tim. I can see how some viewers might feel disappointed by the abrupt ending. However, I think the filmmakers made a conscious choice to leave things open-ended in order to encourage discussion and reflection afterward. By not providing a neat resolution, they force us as viewers to confront our own feelings about climate change and what we can do to address it. So while it might not have been satisfying from a narrative standpoint, I think it served the film's overall message quite well.
Well, Tom, moving on from the ending, let's talk about something I think we can both agree on. The performances in this film were absolutely stellar, starting with Leonardo DiCaprio as Dr. Randall Mindy. I have to say that his portrayal of a narcissistic scientist caught up in his own fame was truly remarkable. He managed to balance the character's humor and pathos perfectly, making him both entertaining and sympathetic at times.
Absolutely, Tim. Leonardo DiCaprio is one of those actors who can effortlessly transition between dramatic and comedic roles, and his performance in Don't Look Up was no exception. It was fascinating to watch how he played off Jennifer Lawrence's character. Throughout the film, they had great chemistry on screen.
Speaking of which, I couldn't agree more about Jennifer Lawrence's portrayal of Kate DiBiase. She brought a sense of vulnerability and intelligence to the role that was truly captivating. Her emotional journey throughout the film, as she grapples with the implications of their discovery and the indifference they face from others, is both heartbreaking and inspiring.
Jennifer Lawrence has been a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood for years now, and Don't Look Up only serves to solidify her status as one of the most talented actors of her generation. She brought such depth and nuance to Kate DiBiase that it was impossible not to root for her throughout the story.
Well, said Tom, and I would be remiss if we didn't mention Meryl Streep's performance as President Janie Orland. Her portrayal of an unhinged and incompetent leader was both terrifying and hilarious in equal measure. She managed to capture the essence of a politician who cares more about their own image than the well-being of their constituents, which added another layer of satire to the film.
Absolutely. Meryl Streep is an acting legend for a reason, and her performance in Don't Look Up was nothing short of brilliant. She brought such a unique blend of charm, manipulativeness, and desperation to the character that it was easy to see why some viewers might find her more sympathetic than others.
Well said, Tom. And last but not least, let's discuss the film's director, Adam McKay. His direction in Don't Look Up was nothing short of masterful. He managed to balance the film's dark humor and satire with its underlying message about climate change in a way that felt both authentic and engaging. The pacing of the film was perfect, never feeling too slow or too fast at any given moment, which allowed the story and characters to unfold naturally.
Agreed. Adam McKay has proven time and again that he is a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood, and Don't Look Up is yet another testament to his skills as a director and screenwriter. His ability to blend drama, comedy, and social commentary into a cohesive narrative is truly impressive. And it's no wonder that the film has generated so much buzz since its release.
Well said, Tom. It was a pleasure discussing this film with you, as always. And I think we can both agree that despite our differences in opinion about some aspects of Don't Look Up, it's a film that will continue to spark discussion and debate for years to come.
And I couldn't agree more, Tim. The script for Don't Look Up is truly a masterpiece in its own right. It's not often that you see such a well-crafted blend of humor and satire, interwoven with a deeply serious message like climate change. The dialogue is sharp, witty, and oftentimes out loud funny, while still managing to drive home the film's central theme of impending doom. One aspect of the script that really stood out for me was the way it expertly handled the shifts in tone. One moment you're laughing at a silly celebrity cameo, and the next you're on the edge of your seat as the characters grapple with the gravity of their situation. It's a delicate balancing act that could have easily fallen flat in less capable hands, but Adam McKay manages to pull it off flawlessly. I also appreciated how the script didn't shy away from tackling controversial topics or calling out specific groups. The skeptics and deniers are portrayed as more than just caricatures. They're fully fledged characters with their own motivations and beliefs. This adds an extra layer of complexity to the story, forcing us to confront our own biases and preconceptions about climate change. As for the direction, Adam McKay does a phenomenal job bringing this script to life. His use of long, uninterrupted takes adds to the film's documentary-style feel, while also emphasizing the urgency of the situation. The cinematography is stunning as well. The stark contrast between the mundane, everyday scenes and the breathtaking shots of the comet hurtling towards Earth really drives home the scale of the disaster that's about to unfold. Overall, I think Don't Look Up is a tour de force both in terms of script writing and direction. It's a film that will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact on viewers long after they've seen it, and one that serves as a stark reminder about the importance of addressing climate change before it's too late.
I couldn't agree more, Tom. The script for Don't Look Up is truly remarkable in its ability to balance humor and satire with a deeply serious message. And Adam McKay's direction only serves to enhance this blend, creating a film that is both engaging and thought-provoking. One aspect of the film that particularly stood out for me was the use of celebrity cameos. As you mentioned, these appearances could have easily come across as superficial or distracting, but instead, they serve to highlight the widespread impact of climate change and how it affects everyone, regardless of their status or fame. Another thing I appreciated about this film was its portrayal of the media's role in shaping public opinion. The news outlets in Don't Look Up are depicted as more concerned with ratings and sensationalism than delivering accurate information, which is a sad commentary on the state of journalism today. This aspect of the script adds an extra layer of complexity to the story and forces us to confront our own complicity in perpetuating misinformation and ignorance about important issues like climate change. Overall, I think Don't Look Up is a powerful film that manages to entertain while also challenging its audience to think deeply about the consequences of their actions on both a personal and global scale. It's a testament to Adam McKay's talent as both a writer and director that he was able to create such a compelling work of art out of what could have easily been a preachy or didactic message movie.
I couldn't agree more, Timothy. The way Don't Look Up handles celebrity cameos and media manipulation is truly impressive. It really forces viewers to reflect on their own roles in society and how we consume information. But let's move on to discussing the cultural impact of this film. I think it's safe to say that Don't Look Up has generated quite a buzz since its release. People have been talking about it nonstop, which is really refreshing, considering most films these days seem to fly under the radar. It's not often that a film manages to capture the public's attention in such a meaningful way, while also tackling controversial topics like climate change and government corruption.
Absolutely, Tom. The cultural impact of this film has been significant, to say the least. People have been sharing their thoughts and opinions about Don't Look Up on social media platforms like never before. It's heartening to see so many conversations taking place around such an important issue. But beyond just creating a buzz, I think the film has also had a real impact on how people perceive climate change. For some viewers, it might have been the first time they really sat down and thought about what could happen if we don't take action against climate change. The fact that the film manages to blend humor and satire with such a serious message is truly remarkable, and I believe that this approach has helped to engage audiences who might not otherwise have been interested in the topic.
That's a great point, Timothy. Don't Look Up really does an excellent job of appealing to a wide range of viewers, from die-hard environmentalists to casual film fans. And that's exactly what we need if we want to create meaningful change around climate change. It's not enough for people to just be aware of the issue. We need them to care about it and feel motivated to take action. The fact that this film has managed to spark discussions among such diverse groups is truly remarkable. And I think it bodes well for the future of our planet.
I couldn't agree more, Tom. Don't Look Up is a testament to the power of storytelling and art in general to evoke change. It's not often that we see a film with such an impact on popular culture, but when it does happen, it's truly special. And while there have been some criticisms about the film's accuracy or its portrayal of certain characters, I believe that these discussions are healthy and necessary if we want to continue moving forward in our fight against climate change.
Absolutely, Tim. No work of art can ever be perfect, but it's important that we use them as a starting point for conversation and reflection. Don't Look Up has certainly succeeded in doing just that. And I, for one, am grateful for the opportunity to engage in such meaningful discussions about climate change with you and our fellow viewers.
Well said, Tom. I couldn't agree more about the importance of using works of art like Don't Look Up as starting points for conversations around important issues such as climate change. And speaking of which, before we wrap up this episode, I wanted to give our viewers a chance to share their thoughts and opinions on the film as well. So, if you haven't already done so, please feel free to leave a comment below or join the discussion on our YouTube channel. We'd love to hear what you think about Don't Look Up and how it has impacted your perspective on climate change.
Absolutely. And remember, guys, if you enjoyed this video and found our discussion helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. It really helps us out a lot, and we love hearing from all of you in the comments section below. So keep those thoughts coming. And until next time, thank you for joining us on another episode of our YouTube podcast. We'll see you next time with another fascinating discussion about film, television, and whatever else catches our fancy.